You guys, if you take a look at these houses out here, right? All of these houses it's actually part of the club requirements. In order to be a member of this club, you have to purchase land and actually build a house on it. Just for you to be able to get on the track at all, you have to own one of these properties. That's the next level of wrong, I gotta tell you.
Man, we're going to what's referred to as the manor.
The humble manor.
The one and
TJ Millionaire Mentor, mansion on the hills. You guys are about to see something that, I'm sure is gonna blow a lot of you guys away, man. Jay, tell these guys what is the humble manor, man? What is so special about it?
The humble manor, man, what is special about it, man? Honestly, it's one of those places where you stand and you just reminisce and just think and reflect on where you want to be, right? Not where you've been, where you want to be.
The views are absolutely insane.
Immaculate.
You guys are gonna see $1 million Lambos, $1 million Ferraris, all types of crazy stuff. But most importantly, you're gonna meet somebody that is one of the most down-to-earth, most humble, most wise investors and entrepreneurs out there, man. So you guys, man, you're in for a real treat today.
Yeah, definitely unlocking a lot of cheat codes today. Stay tuned.
Ready?
Time for the show.
Just $2 million sitting out front.
This episode of Cheat Code Unlocked is going to be legendary. Man, we at the manor, the humble manor.
Yeah.
This collection.
Welcome to another episode of Cheat Code Unlocked, man. Today we got my man TJ Millionaire Mentor here.
Yes, sir.
This guy, a lot of people know him from, you might see him on YouTube, you might have seen him doing this thing in the business world, but a lot of people don't know that this guy's a Ferrari racing expert. What do you call it?
Yeah, I'm a Ferrari challenge race car driver.
Run them bands up, 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 run them bands up. Spin it 'cause I'm up, and what? Run them bands up, 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 run them bands up. Thought we was falling off, you can't stand us.
All right, guys, so TJ just finished racing his custom Ferrari race car. Phenomenal race. He did his thing. The whole purpose of what they do here is to just get better. Obviously get better at what they do, which is racing. Every second, every millisecond, every split second counts. So it's just a constant process of trying to improve his time on the track. He's going to be the first, African-American Ferrari race car driver, out here in this competition. So it's going to be really exciting to watch him race. Hopefully we'll be able to make it out this weekend to one of his first races. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, cool day at the track. We got a lot of wealth of information here. This guy's a complete resource when it comes to Ferrari, when it comes to the sport of racing as a whole. Here with TJ Millionaire, we're gonna dive in to find out more about TJ. For you guys who don't know, we got connected with TJ a couple months ago, man. It's been absolutely a blessing to get to know this guy here.
It's crazy.
A huge inspiration to me and Jay personally. And it's gonna be an inspiration to you guys as well, man. So TJ, thank you for doing this with us.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Thanks
man.
for being on Cheat Code Unlocked, man.
Yeah, man. Whatever
We're
I can
looking
do to
forward to
support
this
you
one.
guys, man. You guys are dope people, killing it, showing folks how to come up. So I love that. You got to be a part of that.
It's only
Appreciate
right.
that, man.
It's only
Appreciate
right.
that. So let's dive into, basically, just an introduction to you as an entrepreneur.
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit about your journey, how you got to this point of being in such a amazing position that you're in right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So me as an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. I've sold, built businesses and sold businesses.
Right.
My tech business is one of the ones that I was in for the longest, started from scratch and built that up and sold it. Had also a construction business, commercial construction business. It wasn't a big exit, but I did that too. And then I built retail businesses. I built e-commerce businesses. I have quite a bit of real estate, commercial real estate, and then some residential stuff.
Okay.
What else? A number of things. So I've done a number of things in terms
True
of
entrepreneur. Huh?
yeah,
Man,
for
a lot
sure.
of people don't realize that when you talk about entrepreneurship, people think you have to only be in one particular category. A lot of times, entrepreneurs, we can't even help ourselves. We got our fingers in different things, but it's mostly the entrepreneur spirit that makes you, successful.
Yeah, the entrepreneur spirit says that you want to build something.
Right.
You're willing to take risk, right? You're willing to, to kill what you, to eat what you kill.
Eat what you kill.
Man, I'm a big
yeah.
eat what you kill, man. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's massive.
But one thing that people get messed up though, in terms of being an entrepreneur, and they'll talk to people that are entrepreneurs that's been at it for a minute.
Right.
And they'll see that guy doing a lot of different things or have done a lot of different things. So they start out trying to do the same thing, And, I talk about Jay-Z all the time and say, Jay-Z does a lot today.
100%. Yeah.
But how long was it when he did this other thing?
Right.
I didn't hear about him doing anything else. He wasn't he wasn't doing spirits. He didn't do clothing. He didn't have his own, all the brands that he has now, right? And all the investments that he has.
Right.
He wasn't an investor in a professional sports team. He didn't have the money to do that.
Nope.
Nor did he have the attention span or the bandwidth to do it.
Right.
Now that he has the resources, he can hire people and get people to do different things. And he has now leverage. So he can apply that leverage to different businesses. And so one of the, anti-cheat codes, if you will, is trying to do too much too soon.
Right.
Right. And so so that's a big problem that I see entrepreneurs have as well, though.
No, that's a fact.
Yeah,
I mean, even with us, man, one of the biggest things we've been able to do in our company is really be able to build the teams that we need to implement the things that we want to implement in our verticals, right? So, for us, we are in entrepreneurship, we're in finance. Being able to build things like products and things we can't. Bro, the time
we started out doing it ourselves.
Yeah, our time was like very nil. But being able to build teams is important. And one of the things that we even picked up from you when we were shooting not too long ago at Thermal was really just about how to really navigate those 7 people that you told us about. If you could tell the people about that, I mean, just
that was massive.
That was a huge key even for us. And we went back and looked at our entire team and said, look, man, who are the executors that we need to keep around?
Yeah.
Who needs to migrate out? Right. And who do we need to bring on in order to execute cleanly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and how to even identify those people.
Right.
Yeah.
Extremely important. So
yeah. So I mean, building teams is super important. One of the things for me, I've always thought, if I can get 7 people all pulling in the same direction, pulling hard, they know what they're doing. They like what they're doing. They're continuing to learn. They're committed to it because I've been able to put some sort of compensation program or some sort of incentive program together that aligns them with what my mission is and aligns with their mission. If you can get those 7 people, man, you're almost unstoppable, right? Pulling. It's seriously, because a lot of times you'll have a team and you'll look at your team, you'll be like, oh, okay. I got 2 people, they're killing it. These other guys, they're just kind of doing their job. Right. But I'm talking about people that are, got ideas and can execute them.
And can execute.
Yeah.
Not just telling you what they can do or what you can do.
Yeah.
They're actually executing on that. When they come to you with almost like an MVP, they could be like, okay, this is what this actually looks like. This is what we can improve upon.
And coming with solutions instead of problems. I see a lot, we deal with that again, I'm sure you deal with the same thing. It's the difference between people that come to you with problems consistently versus people who come with you. They might be a problem, but at least they got the solution as well on how to execute. And that's just it's invaluable, on the journey to entrepreneurship. So let me ask you this, man. Building, in all the different facets of the business that you've been in, there's obviously learning curves to everything that you do. What would you say is like, been your process in taking on new things? I've seen you in real estate, from what I've seen online, and I've seen you obviously in the racing world, firsthand. But obviously, again, that learning curve. What is your process for coming into a new project, assessing its viability, and then being able to execute on it?
Well, so in terms of learning, right, which is super important because I think it's a superpower. Right, is your ability to learn. So I think one, being able to see sort of, okay, what is this thing, right? Racing. What is racing? I got to learn how to, car control, manage a car. I got to learn how to, go fast, certain techniques and skills. I got to learn how to do that. I got to learn racecraft. I got to learn how to control my mind. I got to learn how to prep for a race. So you have to be able to figure out what the anatomy of that thing is you're trying to do. Right? So if it's trading, it might be analysis. Or you can break down that. If it's trading, what is it? It's analysis. It's
fundamental analysis, technical analysis, market knowledge. And basically being able to understand the mechanics of a good, solid trade.
But then there's some mind things too.
Emotional.
Right. So there are some things that you have to be able to do, right? So the first thing is, what are those things? Right? And then the other thing is to start learning by doing. Right. So a lot of times people read and they'll study all this stuff, but they're not really learning anything. I always say learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of experience. So what that means is
we gotta run that one back.
That's a bomb.
That's a cheat code right there.
Say that one more time, because that is a cheat code.
That's a cheat
Run that
code.
back
So
one more time.
learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of experience, right? And so it's something I learned in I was in junior high school or something, right? I learned it, I heard that definition, I said, that don't make sense to me. What does that mean?
Right.
And I spent a lot of time trying to understand what that meant, right? And, when I say learning what it means, you can learn it for a test or something, right? But that don't mean you get it, right? Like it for so for me, it's like I needed to get that in my bones because learning I always knew was really important and vital, right? So what happens is, if a child burns their hand on something, right, on a candle or something, right, will they do it again? Likely they will, because they did it. They don't know the whys and what fors if it was real. They might do it again. Now they're not going to do it anymore. Right. Now their behavior, they have a relatively permanent change in their behavior as a result of the experience that they had. Right. So learning is more than, it's not memorization. It's about knowing it and changing your behavior as a result of learning. So that's why I say learn by doing, being involved, doing activity, because now that thing is going to change your behavior. If you're trying to learn Facebook ads, right? If you're trying to learn whatever it is and you go, let me read a book, okay. But if you start doing it and fumbling through it, by the time you finish that process, you've changed your behavior. You know some stuff.
100%.
That's
real quick.
I was gonna say, pretty much you're saying to listen to understand, right? So identify the problem, be able to listen to understand and practice, right? Like pretty much put it into practice. I wanted to ask you, rewind this back a little bit as far as being able to exit a company. That's something that I feel like, we talk about this, in our culture. It's not something that people really do very often. It's not something that we're exposed to or have any practice with. So that's something that I wanted to really how does one really pick up a company and get it to the point of exit, from point A to point B type of situation?
Right. Well, the first thing is you got to build a good company, right? You got to build a company that provides value, right? Returns cash flow. Right. Creates equity. So you have to do that. And so the first thing is, there's stages to it, right? When you build a company, I would say one of the first stages, if you're building a company and you're thinking about exiting, which you should, I'll give you an example. You should build a company with that in mind, but not be super focused on that initially. So when I built my tech services firm, right, I could have gone out because I had specialized knowledge and charged a whole lot of money per hour for my services, right, which I did do, but that wasn't my primary way of creating income. My primary way of creating income was teaching these guys how to do what I did, right? And then going out and building a sales team and a sales force and the sales mechanisms so that I can continue to get business. Because if I went out, whereas other people might have went out and said, I can charge $300 an hour, right? And they're killing it initially, right? But for me, I had 15, 20, 30, I had a bunch of people out there making not $300 an hour, but maybe $200 an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but if I didn't have in mind that I wanted to exit, I would have been okay just charging $300 an hour, not building it. I would have been okay being really cheap about my infrastructure. But what I wanted to do is to make sure I had an infrastructure that would support where I wanted to go, right? Scale. Not overspending, but I wanted to make sure I had an infrastructure that would support. So that meant I had to spend money on training, right, and a training program so that I could build a actual business, as opposed to just being a consultant.
For the staff.
For the staff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For the staff.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man, because I've been curious about this for some time. How big was the exit exactly?
Hey, it was all right.
You know what I mean? Well, how big?
Yeah, it was all right.
How big though? We need numbers.
Why you getting in my pocketbook?
Hey, look, we need numbers, man. I want to know how big.
You know what I'm saying?
How big was this exit?
How much money you make last week, bro?
Last week?
No,
I'll tell you.
How much money you make? Bro, how much money you make last? How much money is he paying you? How much money is he paying you? I'll get in my pocket.
I paid him good. But look, the reason why I'm asking is this. The reason why I'm asking is this because, you came from humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Still at humble manner, right? And I know that obviously people see success, right? But it's relative until, when people don't really know, right? Same thing with like market cap. We look at a company. We invest in companies all the time. We might think it's a good company, but we don't really know until we really look at the numbers, right? And so for me, I'm just saying like as inspiration-wise, or whatever it may be, even one of the smaller companies, maybe not the main company that you did, but maybe a smaller company. Like what type of exits can people look at? You know what I mean? You
can look at what kind of exit, right? From my standpoint, I built a company so let me get back to the original question that you had. So there's stages. Initially, what you want to do is build a company that can grow and can scale. So that's the most important thing. Build a company that can scale, right? Have an idea, create a goal that's big enough for all the effort you're going to put into this thing. Because building a $10 million company, building a $20 million company, a $50 million company, $300 million company is all kind of the same, right? In terms of the effort. It's the effort that you have to, what I'm saying is the effort that's going to be required of you personally is the same.
Okay.
Right? The effort's no different. It's just the ideas and the execution is going to be different.
Okay.
The risk might be different, right? Okay. The opportunities that you pursue will be different. So building a company that's going to scale, then that's going to help you out a lot, right? I mean, that's initial. Right. And then once you have that kind of going, then you're going to want to make sure that you're doing some things that's going to support an exit, meaning that you're building a company that's not tied around maybe something so proprietary that or it can be proprietary, right? What's that?
Or dependent on you.
Or just dependent on you, right? Just dependent on you.
Just be swept that way like that.
Or so concentrated, proprietary wasn't the right word, but so concentrated in an area depending on the type of business that you're in, right? But concentration shrinks your numbers, right? So, understanding what those parameters are, that's going to allow you to exit the way you want, right? And to start managing towards those things, right? Because now you got a company that you can scale, that you can grow. Then it's like, okay, I got a company that I can scale or grow, and I'm doing that. What are the parameters that are important to a PE firm or to a partner or whatever, right? And some of those things are diversity in terms of resources, the strength of your cash flow numbers and things like that, right?
So is that where
how
you went?
clean your numbers are.
So is that where you went, like the PE firms and things like that? Because we've looked at the same kind of thing. When we look at our valuations, or valuations that we get from outside, talking about from our cash flow to where we're at, we get ranges from 40 million to 70 million, but we don't really know because we haven't really went through the process, right? And we don't even know who, even if we did want to sell part of our company, something like that, or our entire business, right? We don't even know, where do you go to find buyers like that, right? Like, how do you find a buyer for your company as a whole?
Well, there's different places. You can go to Biz Buy Sell.
Oh, what? Legit?
Yeah.
That's crazy. We looked on there a couple times for the buy business.
Yeah. You can go there, do that. You can get a broker that's, looking at your business. You go, obviously. Was that?
Business broker.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go to M&A firms that can size you up depending on the size.
Right.
So yeah.
So we're basically saying build it with the end in mind, right? So build it to sell. There's actually a really good book. Build it to scale, right? Build it to scale. So you have to build a good business, right? So build it to scale. It is, and if you think, oh, well, I had a good business for a year, right? I had a good business for 2 years. Sometimes that'll work. Most of the time it doesn't. Right? Because it's like there's not enough continuity, there's not enough stability in terms of revenue and income to be able to say, yeah, this is what I'm willing to pay for. Right? To eliminate the risk associated with that business. Right. So build a good business, scale it, and then make sure you start to look at some of those sort of metrics that are super important to an acquisition. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, cool. So that's dope now.
He mad because I ain't give him the number.
No, I already know you want me to get a number. I ain't mad about it. It's all good. It's all good. It's left up to my imagination now. Now it is what it is. But look, it's all good, man. So here's my main question. We know it's a lot of money. That's what it is. But the fact of the matter is this, man. So being able to you exit that particular company and move on to other companies, you have minor exits in and up, along the way. What has been, I would say, what has been some of the biggest lessons that you've taken throughout that process, right? Like your biggest lessons that you would say that you took on, maybe
from the process of selling my business and moving into other businesses.
The entire journey, man. I mean, really things that you maybe let's say 2 or 3 of your top lessons that you've taken from.
Yeah, I think one, I would have had a bigger goal, right, in terms of my the business that I was in, as long as I was in it. Okay. I think I would have sold it earlier because I had a few exit points, and I would have sold it earlier, not because of what the numbers were or anything like that per se. It was the amount of time that I got wrapped up in that process. Right. And so you're almost like a deer in the headlights because you're not moving. Yeah. The whole sales process. So that just took way longer than I wanted. I would have sold it. I probably should have sold it in one of the previous rounds, kind of thing. I think those are, a couple of the big ones, for sure, is that I would have had much bigger goals, right? I would have got that process done earlier. But the one thing that I did learn and did take away from it is I did get paid through the process.
Right.
Meaning,
use cash flow.
Cash flowing well, as opposed to not, And because I have buddies that didn't, right, because they were so concerned about keeping money in the business, but that money gets taken out anyway. You know what I mean? That money, like if you go out and you buy this or invest in that thing, this thing or that thing, it's one-time investments. Those are adjustments anyway. So that money gets essentially put back in the business. Right. The amount of money that you're paying yourself, right? If you're paying yourself maybe $500,000 more than, the next person that's going to run the company would, as an example, that's going to be adjusted back into the business. So it's not like
as far as when you're doing the evaluation process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you do the evaluation, when you're evaluating the business and you're going, what is this business worth? And it's like, oh, you guys went out and bought, a content house, as an example, right? Well, you're like, I'm not going to do that because that's going to hurt the valuation of the business.
But it's
not, because it's going to be adjusted.
And so
that kind of thing.
And when we say adjusted, essentially what we're talking about is when a company or somebody who's looking to acquire is looking at that balance sheet, and they see these one-time expenses, or they see owner's expenses or owner draws. they're not going to factor that into their valuation for the business because they're just going to adjust that back.
Yeah,
they
factor it in as though, wait a minute, that money didn't have to be spent. That was discretionary. They did that. We're going to put that back in the business because we wouldn't make that the same decision.
Right.
That was a one-time sort of a thing that happened. Or even if it's a one-time expense that had to happen, it gets adjusted. At least a big portion of it gets adjusted because you say, hey, we had to refresh all the equipment, that would get adjusted back in. So understanding that process and what evaluation. So I would tell people that actually have businesses that are already scalable and moving, right, to early on, kind of go through the process, to understand what it would be to for people to go, oh, I'm going to evaluate your business to see what the parameters are that they're looking at for their particular type of business.
Right.
Cool. That's dope, man. Major jump.
Yeah.
Major key.
Yeah.
Now, what was the most fun aspect, would you say, throughout the time of building your business? Because I know for us, we have a different kind of business, right? Our business allows us to kind of travel, do some cool shit with stuff, people like you, go out and do different types of things and have a little bit more fun with what we do. Even trading, we can trade from anywhere, and it's a great experience. Building other types of businesses may not be as flexible. So, what was the most fun aspect of your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, so being able to try different things, man. I mean, I built a whole I built a number of different businesses, right? Yeah. So having a team and building a team, seeing, just a couple of days ago, we have a support team and support center, call center in the Dominican Republic, and one of the team members sent me in something, and it was that they bought their first car. And it was kind of cool. It was a new car, and they sent me pictures of it, saying thank you for the opportunity and that kind of thing. Right. So seeing
from
people,
the salary you're paying.
Right. Seeing people buy their home, or seeing people start a business, or those types of things have been really, really cool to watch people grow and build something, right, or accomplish something for their families, or for their for their family, for the people that they love. That's like super fun. That's super rewarding, right? Yeah. I think in terms of fun, we've always hosted events, right? So I've always used events as a way of building business and connecting, right? So I remember back in the day in DC, I would create these dope house parties, right? They'd be the dopest house parties, man. And people would come. I would have like valet. I would have the whole lineup. But it was all a business thing, and I did it at the time because the people in the federal government, I couldn't take golfing. I couldn't buy them dinner. I couldn't do things. So I threw a party. And really, I only wanted 7 of them to be there. And I targeted these 7 people to be at the party, but there would be a whole bunch of other people. So in no way did it look like the party was for them. Right? In no way would they even know that the party was for them. But the party was really to get them there, and to create relationship and bond and that kind of thing. And we were able to do that. And so it was fun creating those sort of events so that, so I connected there. I connected on the construction thing. So it was cool. It was a cool way of building business.
That's pretty
that's a cheat code right there. Because we've been talking about a way of really networking and things like that. I see that as a super, super easy way to really get plugged in to the right people that you want on your team.
Can you push this back from
any of those type of things? So I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah, you gotta get creative in business, right? It's like you can't go buy this, you can't buy a pen, you can't buy anything, So you can't do anything to build relationship the way you would naturally. Come on to dinner, let's talk. Come on, let's play golf. Let's do something cool. But, you can't do that. And so we created a whole different way of doing it.
And your thing was at this time was in government contracting and things of that nature, right? So essentially it was like, networking is a big part of that, right? Building a government contract.
Relationships is a big part of business, right? So for me, when we started in our tech services business, right, we didn't start doing any federal government stuff at all. Everything we did was
straight to consumer.
Outside of the Beltway. Nothing was around the Beltway. So, and we did that because we had a very specialized expertise. We could charge a lot of money for it. The government was slow in terms of how long the procurement process took, right? And then because of what we were doing was proprietary, they had a hard time accepting the rates and the numbers, right? Because they had nothing to compare it to.
Right.
So we could go out and do business with John Hancock, Nationwide Insurance, Liberty Mutual, Novartis, State Farm, Coca-Cola, different companies, you name it. We would do Shell, Exxon, we'd do business with all of those folks.
Right.
So we could go directly to them. They made decisions very quickly, and we were able to build our business that way. The federal government was something that was guarded against the economy going up and down and changing, fluctuating.
No matter
right.
what.
Yeah, there's going to be business, right? And that kind of thing. But our primary source of business was outside of the Beltway, which was a different business model than federal government.
Right. But the main thing about it, again, like Jay said, or like you said, the cheat code essentially to building, getting the things that you needed into your business was leveraging, events, which is probably something that you're naturally good at in the first place, right?
Something I like.
I mean, I could tell you naturally good at events.
Just
you know what I mean? So using your strengths to, to the benefit of the company, I think makes a whole lot of sense. You know what I mean? So that's pretty dope across the board, man.
Yeah, man.
You got.
We need to throw some events, man. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, look, man, we always do that. I'm down for events at any point in time. I'm not as big of an extrovert as this guy is, you know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Y'all extroverts, I don't know what. But I think that's dope that you've been able to leverage that into a business that doesn't typically see that type of thing, right? You're not thinking tech services, parties, and things like that. You know what I mean? So that's cool.
Right now, where you are now, what are some things that you're excited about? Or looking forward to as far as on the business aspect of things or things that you got currently working on or anything like that?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I honestly publicly a lot don't talk about the details of some of the businesses, right? But we're building, we have a supplement business and we're building that out, right? So we're in the process of launching a new product. Okay. So that's cool. So that's been working, good. And we want to build that out, scale it. So that's pretty exciting. On the TJ side, TJ Millionaire Mentor side, we're building some stuff out. But typically kind of,
You can tell me about that?
Growing.
You can tell me
about
that?
Well, the thing is people, so TJ Millionaire Mentor, let's talk about that. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Give me some, man.
So here's the thing, when we talk about so when I exited my services business, right, I already had a bunch of real estate stuff, going. Okay. And we already had a business that was, doing at least $2 million a month, in terms of what I do with JJ. Right. And JJ was a part of the other business as well, right? So she helped me build
That's
that
amazing.
business.
For those who don't know, Keith, told you JJ.
Yeah, JJ Smith is my business partner. She's my best friend.
Right.
Hell, she's my ex-wife.
That's a cheat code right there.
Yeah.
So ex-wife work with you.
So we've always been friends, right? And so when our the romantic relationship ended, we were like, shit, we're still friends. We still would she moved 2 miles away. And hell, right now we have places in the same building. In DC, you know what I mean?
That's dope.
It's like we have so in the same building. So best friend, business partner, one of the smartest business people, right? No, most of the time when you guys see her, she's on, watching the game, having fun, but she's savvy, super savvy, super connected to her audience, really knows her audience. So we started building that business. We've been in that business now 13 years, I think.
Oh man!
In the supplement space.
Well, the weight loss supplement space, that kind
fitness,
of thing. Right. Gotcha. Well, not fitness. We've never been fitness, so we've always been weight loss, health, but not fitness, which is a little bit different, right? Fitness sort of implies that hey, we're gonna go, here's these routines and work out. Jay's like, nah, I don't like working out, but I'm gonna show you how to look good, show you how to lose weight, show you how to get healthier, So that seems like a conflict, but Jay got that on lock.
It's a clear messaging.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be, true to who you are and what you want to do. That's another thing. A lot of people try to do everything just because they see the market exploding one, way or the other.
Yeah.
They want to be like accustom their business towards what somebody else is doing. But you don't that's not your lane. That's not your lane. You know what I mean? And if you find who you're trying to connect to, you're going to find way more success.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
100%.
So you guys check out JJ Smith, by the way.
Yeah,
Definitely check out
JJ Smith.
Yeah.
She's
And
a
I gotta
real
say, man, to be honest, man, like, listen, you know, I admire y'all's relationship a lot, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people, you know, they think that just because there was some type of, you know, you had a romantic relationship that ends, the whole thing has to be gone. But at the end of the day, who knows you better than the people that you know, been in a dynamic with?
Yeah.
And so the maturity it takes to do that and then apply it to business,
right.
you know, it just is a beautiful thing because that's somebody who's gonna have your back to the end. You know, you need that in business. You know what I mean?
But
so
and the issue is reconciling that with your new lady, and
right?
all that.
Right.
It can go. Don't try that at home.
Don't try that at home. Don't try that at home.
Hey, try to figure that out. Yeah, well, she knows me. She got my back.
Yeah,
right. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You know?
No, so I'm. You know, the thing is, man. Here's what I've learned, man. It's cheat code, right?
Cheat code.
I'm committed.
Let it loose.
Yeah, I'm committed to permanent people in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
There's all types of people that's going to come into your life, and most of them aren't going to stay.
Right.
You know, so for me, when there's people that are, you know, permanent people worthy of being permanent in your life, then you love them and you figure out how to stay connected to them and support them and allow them to support you.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, man, it's about relationships. It's about family. And,
100%.
you know, some of us have really big, you know, natural families and others don't. So you have to build that family and that becomes your family. So that's that relationship with JJ. And then when I find people around me, I kind of look at them and be like, is this a permanent person or is this not a permanent person? And if they're not permanent, I treat them very differently.
That's a fact.
Right.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Nah, that's another major cheat code, I think. You know, when you talk about relationships, again, like, in business and in life in general, you know, having people who got your back and who you can have their back. I mean, you can't really beat it, man. I mean, that's something that, you know, I think most people will probably experience it somewhere, but I don't think most people really pick up on the importance of it. Right? Because like business is already one place where things can be tricky, right? You know, it's hard to trust people and things like this. So when you have people that you know you can trust, you gotta keep them right and you gotta keep them in your corner.
And confident, capable people too. Right. You know, that's why it's important. Like people ask me all the time, is it important to go to college? No, it's not important. You know, you can do whatever you need to do without ever going to college. One of the benefits that college gives you, or being in certain sort of places, is that you're connected with some people that are upwardly mobile, probably trying to go in the same direction you're going in. Right. Whether they go that direction or not, they're trying. Right. So now you have the chance to build relationships with people that's moving in the same direction that you're moving in. Right. The neighborhood that I grew up in, love them, but you know what? Ain't nobody trying to move like that. That's right. So, you know, these people might know me forever, but they don't have the same vision of where I'm trying to get to. And that can limit you in terms of whatever, because they're like, man, bro, you've made it. And you know, and you ain't even started, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. So having people with the same sort of aspirational mindset and capability and competency is very important. So when you have those people that, you know, also know you and have your back, it's amazing. So you don't have to have just one type of friend. You know, you have different type of friends, you know. Right. But it's great when you can have someone that you're connected to that got your back, but also competent and capable.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. Because, I mean, I think a lot of people experience, like, you know, just dealing with people that don't have that sense of urgency, right? Like, if you have those type of people around you, your circle, it's like, you know, you have that niche. You don't have to really communicate a lot of things. A lot of things is just understood. You know what I mean? When you're talking, it's like,
it's understood, don't have to be said.
Exactly. Right? You don't have to do too much. So, 100%.
Yeah,
man. That really hits home.
Yeah, man. No, I like that a lot, man. So, look, TJ, I appreciate you coming on to Cheat Code. I'm going to go ahead and summarize what I feel like I heard the cheat code. I'm going to see what type of gems I picked up on the cheat code. You let me know if I'm wrong. You let me know if I'm wrong, right? So what I heard was cheat code to business, right? Building to scale, right? Always keep building your business with the goal in mind of continuously being able to scale it. Solid relationships. right? Leveraging the relationships that you have around you, or leveraging your skill set in order to, facilitate relationships like through the events like you did, using your skill set in that arena. Personal, permanent relationships, permanent fixtures in your business relationships and in your life as a whole. Competent people, things of that nature that's around you, keeping those people solid, and making sure those relationships are tight.
Yeah,
what else? What else am I missing?
Man, it's just the scalability issue, something like that. Identify a problem, make sure you find a solution to it, build it to scale, and then, hey, make sure your network exit with the,
And don't forget to keep learning. Learn by doing. Make sure you know what the anatomy of that thing is.
Right.
Yep.
And then learn those components and learn by doing. Don't go just study and you're not doing anything, right? Learn it, because if you learn it, then you got it in your bones. It's gonna change the way you act. It's gonna change who you are. And if you're the only other thing we didn't say is commit to the process.
Commit to the process is a major one. That's a
right.
fact.
So commit to the process. Everybody's like, hey, what's the cheat code, right? How do I get here tomorrow? You don't. You don't get here tomorrow. How do I get here next year then? That probably ain't gonna happen either.
Right.
But if you commit to the process, you can get to whatever it is.
Man,
You have no limits. You have no boundaries. But if you commit to the process and just kind of go, hey, I know I'm on path. I'm doing this thing. I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at it. Then you are not limited at all. But if the goal is for it to happen tomorrow, you're 28 and a half, and you're trying to get it to happen by 30, it might not happen.
Right.
And then you might even be putting too much pressure on yourself where you're just going to go backwards,
right?
Because you're chasing the wrong stuff.
Yep.
You're chasing flash. So anyway, man.
Yeah,
no, that's great, man.
Massive. You're 29 and a half trying to be a millionaire by 30. I don't know, man.
Hey, man. Well, look, hold on now. I gotta go back.
You got a cheat code.
I got a cheat code for you. I got a cheat code for you. So to put it in perspective, right?
Right.
So, and we tell people this all the time because for us, we went from. We started our company, 2020, 2021. I think we did like 5.5, right? And it was cool. But the thing is, what a lot of people didn't see throughout that process was the 10 years of
before that.
That's right. And so to put it in perspective, there are times where you can hit certain things. Even in trading, we talk about this in trading a lot. You can become a trader, successful trader, within 3 or 4 months. Even your son asked us, how long does it take to learn, right? You can become a successful trader, investor, blah, 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 within a short period of time. But you have to learn from experiences, even if it's not your own experiences, right? And you let me know if I'm off track here. Even if you learn a mentor, you got a community, you got other experiences that you can pull from in order to find your successes, right? Whether it's in business or whatever. And that's the power of having a millionaire mentor or other things like that can shorten your learning curve tremendously. So even if your goal is to get from, you're 28, you try to get to millionaire by 30, right? I'm a big believer that you anything can be done. You just have to figure out how to do it. If you have somebody who's done the 10 years, right? Who's done those 10 years, right? And they put those time in, they can guide you to that pathway in a much shorter time frame, right?
Absolutely.
100%. So cheat codes, those are the cheat codes that we got from TJ today. I'm sure he's got a whole bunch more in there. Eventually we're gonna find out a little bit more about, some numbers, right?
Yeah, don't worry, man. This ain't gonna be the last time you see TJ. 100%.
When you get to the point, you get that much, you get to your successes, you got your you can choose how you move with that, right? Yeah, so I appreciate you, TJ, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all for having us here in general, man. I look forward to seeing
always a pleasure. Yeah,
everything else you got going on.
Let's tell the viewers where they can find you, man. TJ, I know you.
Yeah, TJ Millionaire Mentor on Instagram, I think Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
Big YouTube content.
Though I don't do anything on Twitter, but
Ferrari racetracks. You can catch them down at the racetracks.
And that's my passion is racing, man.
Yeah, man. That's the coolest shit in the world to me, man. Like, God damn.
Honestly, we ain't even get too much into racing, but yeah, we got a special episode. you might catch it here and there if you actually stay tuned, you know, to Chico TV. So
you gonna see it.
Yeah,
you gonna see it for sure.
You're definitely
man.
gonna see it. You know what I mean? So yeah, nah, man. Thank you again, man. It's been a pleasure as always. Always the hospitality is amazing. It's literally second to none. So yeah, man. Appreciate you as always.